Now if you notice, I had these two other 3-pin, actually a 4-pin and a 3-pin, kind of just chilling over here. Now those go right in between here and here. Now the 3-pin provides a negative output for while running, a negative output for accessories. So if you need an extra accessory output and maybe tie it into a relay, you would use that. Your red is a constant 12 volts to power whatever that would be, bypass, what have you. Then you have your blue, which is status negative output, which is basically an output while the remote start is on. It's going to throw out a ground signal to activate whatever you need it to be on that blue wire. But since we don't need any of these, give that back to the customer, throw it in the box for next time around maybe. Next guy, we got a 4-pin, and this one here gets you an extra negative start output. So if you had a second starter or something like that, you would use that. Constant 12 volts again for a coil or a relay, whatever. And if you had another need for an ignition 4, I mean, if you can imagine, you would use this to trigger that coil or that relay for that purpose. We don't need this either, so same story as a 3-pin. See you later. Moving along, we got some other stuff. This here switch is something that I took off the shelf back there. This did not come with the alarm system. What is this for? It's not a very attractive looking switch, I know, but I want to use this for the radar sensor, because when it does rain a lot, or if you get, like, because we live in Florida and sometimes we get these insane rainstorms, and it happens for almost days at a time, because this is the humidity capital of the world. So if this thing starts going berserk and there's no way to disarm that sensor through the remote control or what have you, I'm going to install this switch just as an emergency override. So this switch is going to be for that. And this I'm going to put in line in this harness for this power window roll-up module someplace, and I'll show you how. So that's that. Now we got this antenna, which is pretty straightforward. One end is going to go into the antenna itself. And on the end, you're going to see 3 plugs here. One is for your transceiver data in and out. This is an LED plug. This one here is for the negative pulsing of the Valley program switch. All 4 of these together create the same thing as on the other end in the single plug. On the side right here, you got the blue 2-pin for the Valley, 2-pin for the LED, and the transceiver. So this side is all filled in, all the banks are full. Over here, everything except for this 4-pin green port, which would be used for an external car link to use a smartphone app. That's what this port here is typically utilized for. And that's pretty much it. Now we can move along to this primary harness. We can start twisting everything up and getting it looking nice and ready for the installation. So here's the way I do that. I go through these wires one by one, and I just cut out whatever it is that I feel like I don't need. So I'll start on this side, and I'll just call them out so that way you can stay with me. Now on this alarm system has a dome light relay built into it, as well as a horn relay built into it, as well as parking lights. So a lot of these wires you don't even use, and some of them you need to use a certain way, but we'll take it nice and slow. So we got violet black, which is horn relay, normally open, I'm sorry, input. So whatever's on this wire is what's going to throw out on the output side, which is going to be the blue black. So blue black is my horn output. This guy here, the violet black, you need to put ground in to supply ground to the relay, so it throws, so ground in, ground out on the horn. That's those two. Next one is brown with a black, which is my horn normally closed, which we do not need. So see you. Next one, we got a gray hood trigger input, which we're going to use, and that's going to go to our Mercury switch. So we'll keep that along right there. Next we got this brown, which is my siren output. This is a positive output, which is going to go to this red wire on my siren. There's your brown siren. Whoop. You weren't supposed to go. Get back there. Okay, so next we got white, which is my flashing light output. white is my output. Oh, see, this car calls for a negative, and it has a relay as well, so we have to make a choice here. Light relay normally closed, so white red. So what I put in the white red is going to come out on my white. So my white red has to go to ground, and my white is going to throw a ground. Next we have, what the hell is this here? Green, purple, green, violet. Oh, wait a second. Wrong. I'm not reading it properly. The white is a positive only. So what this alarm is telling me is that whatever I put in on the white red is going to go out on this green violet. My mistake. Next we got black white. That should be a neutral safety. Come on, black white, yep. That just goes to ground. On anything, any alarm system. Doesn't matter if you're doing a manual or an auto transit, doesn't make a difference. Black, which is going to be your ground. Why can't they all be that easy? Brown with red, I think that's tack. Brake input. So the brake pedal basically is going to rest the ground. Once the pedal's depressed, it's going to throw 12 volts, and that needs to go to this wire. This wire needs to see 12 volts when the brake is depressed. Next we got red with a white stripe. Trunk release channel 2, which we need. We're going to attach this to a relay, so cut that right about there. White with a black stripe. Flashing white negative output, don't need that because we're using that relay from the white red. Next, black with a red stripe. Light relay input, don't need that. Next, violet door trigger input, positive input, don't need that because we have a negative door trigger. Actually 2 negative door triggers, which we're going to have to diode isolate. And we got violet with a white stripe, which is your tack input, which is going to run out to under the hood. And last but not least, we have green, which is our negative door trigger. So there we go. So now we're going to do is prep all this stuff up. We're getting there. I told you it takes time, but it's worth it.